For over a century, the Panama Canal has been a critical artery of the global economy, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and transforming international trade. By providing a shortcut, it saved ships an 8,000-mile detour around South America, fundamentally rewiring global supply chains. Goods from Asia reach the U.S. East Coast faster, European products access the West Coast more easily, and the canal enables the seamless flow of everything from electronics to grain. 6% of global maritime commerce, hundreds of billions in trade, passes through its locks each year. The canal is essential for countries like the US, Chile, and Peru, and its fees are the lifeblood of Panama's economy. But the canal's operation depends on a massive, predictable supply of fresh water from Gatun Lake. Each ship's passage uses millions of gallons, making the canal uniquely vulnerable to changes in rainfall and climate. For decades this system worked flawlessly, but now, climate instability threatens the canal's delicate balance. When the canal is disrupted, the effects ripple worldwide: delays, shortages, and higher prices for everyday goods. The smooth rhythm of global trade can quickly become uncertain and expensive, revealing just how interconnected and fragile our world is. The Panama Canal's future is now a global concern. The Panama Canal crisis began quietly in 2023 as a severe drought, driven by El Niño and climate change, drained Gatun Lake to record lows. With less water, the Canal Authority slashed daily ship transits from 36 to as low as 24, creating massive bottlenecks. Ships queued for days, facing costly delays and uncertainty. Draft restrictions meant vessels carried lighter loads, forcing companies to send more ships or seek alternative, longer routes. Rumors of a total shutdown spooked markets, spiking insurance premiums and sending logistics managers scrambling. Some ships detoured around South America or Africa, while others diverted to the Suez Canal, adding weeks in extra fuel costs. The disruption rippled far beyond shipping. Container rates from Asia to the U.S. East Coast soared, and higher costs hit everything from electronics to coffee. For consumers, this meant higher prices and empty shelves. The crisis exposed the vulnerability of a global trade system reliant on a handful of choke points. It was a wake-up call. Climate change is now a direct threat to economic stability. The world must adapt or face more frequent, costly disruptions. The Panama Canal's drought was not just a local problem, it was a global shockwave. The need for resilient trade routes has never been clearer. As Panama struggles, Nicaragua's centuries-old dream of its own canal is back in the spotlight. The proposed Nicaraguan canal would be longer, wider, and deeper, able to handle the world's largest ships, surpassing Panama's capacity. Backed by the Nicaraguan government and Chinese investors, the project promises jobs and economic transformation for one of the region's poorest countries. Proponents tout it as a nation-building enterprise, but the hurdles are immense. The price tag, up to $100 billion, makes financing uncertain, and repeated delays have plagued the project. Environmental risks are severe. The route would cut through Lake Nicaragua, threatening drinking water and unique ecosystems. Tens of thousands of people, including indigenous communities, face displacement, sparking protests and controversy. Critics warn the deal gives too much power to foreign investors, raising sovereignty concerns. The Nicaraguan Canal is a high-stakes gamble. It could bring prosperity or trigger financial, environmental, and social disaster. Its future remains deeply uncertain. While Nicaragua eyes a new canal, Mexico is betting on a different vision: the Interoceanic Corridor across the Isthmus of Tehuantepec. Instead of digging a canal, Mexico is building a high-speed rail and logistics network to shuttle cargo between upgraded Pacific and Gulf ports. Containers will move swiftly by train across 200 miles, bypassing canal bottlenecks. The project includes new industrial parks and free trade zones, aiming to spark manufacturing and job growth in southern Mexico. President López Obrador champions it as a catalyst for regional development and a competitive alternative to the Panama Canal. But challenges remain: local opposition, environmental concerns, and the need for flawless logistics to compete with all water routes. Success depends on seamless integration with global supply chains. Mexico's land bridge is a bold bet on speed, efficiency, and economic transformation. Central America's three contenders, Panama's canal, Nicaragua's proposed canal, and Mexico's land bridge, offer distinct strengths and risks. Panama's canal is proven and reliable, but its dependence on freshwater makes it vulnerable to climate change. Nicaragua's plan boasts scale, able to handle the world's largest ships, but faces daunting financial, environmental, and political obstacles. Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor offers speed for time-sensitive cargo, bypassing canal delays but requires ultra-efficient logistics to compete on cost. Each route could serve different market segments: Panama for traditional cargo, Nicaragua for superships, and Mexico for high-value, fast-moving goods. Their competition could drive innovation and resilience in global supply chains. Yet all face unique combinations of financial, environmental, and social risks. The future may see these routes coexist, each carving out a niche. The real test will be which can adapt to a changing world and deliver on their promises. The stakes are high for global trade. The next decade will determine which path becomes the new backbone of interoceanic commerce. The world is watching. The race for new trade routes is also a geopolitical contest between the US and China. The US has long viewed the Panama Canal as a strategic asset, vital for commerce and military mobility. China's push to back a Nicaraguan canal is a bold move to gain influence over a new global trade artery, challenging US dominance in the region. A Chinese-operated canal would give Beijing a powerful foothold in America's backyard, raising alarms in Washington. Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor, while domestically led, is closely tied to the US economy through the USMCA trade agreement. A successful corridor could strengthen North American supply chains and support the US push for nearshoring. But the US will watch closely to prevent Chinese control over key infrastructure. For Central American nations, this rivalry brings investment and opportunity, but also the risk of becoming pawns in a larger power struggle. Navigating these waters requires balancing sovereignty with economic ambition. The future of these trade routes will be shaped as much by geopolitics as by engineering. The stakes extend far beyond commerce. They touch the heart of global power. The Panama Canal crisis has forced a global rethink of trade's architecture. The era of relying on single choke points is ending. Resilience and diversification are now priorities. New routes in Nicaragua and Mexico aren't just alternatives, they're insurance against future shocks. The benefits could be lower costs, faster shipping, and less vulnerability to climate, politics, or pandemics. But the transition will be turbulent, with financial, environmental, and social risks that must be managed. For Central America, these projects offer a generational chance for growth, but also the peril of displacement and conflict if not handled equitably. Success depends on sustainable, inclusive development that benefits local communities. The choices made now will shape the flow of commerce and power for decades. The world stands at new crossroads. How we respond will define the future of globalization.